Work, so first week after recess.
Second week.
First week,
Okay,
it's
thank you.
directed.
Thank you.
We have some responses, honorable members. The one that is scheduled here, Honorable Tubi Bidu, is he in the house? I want to, is this the same question, Honorable Raso, that we tabled the response in the morning? Because it will be superfluous to do both.
Honorable Speaker, I believe with your indulgence, the chairman can give the response, although I believe it was actually
Honorable
the same.
Raso, I just wanted to confirm it's the same statement because we were here in the morning, the member was not present, and it was directed that the question and the response be tabled, and you tabled it.
Yes, indeed.
So we can't then have the response being done again in the afternoon session.
Yes, indeed, that was the same response.
Good. It was tabled in the morning, and it will rest at that. The next one is the defense, intelligence, and foreign relations. I have a question from Honorable George Gashagu. Are you in the house? Is the member in the house? If the member is not in the house, table the response.
Very good, Madam Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8.
Hold on. What is out of order?
Madam Speaker, this morning I was away. I'm not feeling well, but I came back. And then it was put on the order paper. The same reply. Now that I'm here, why don't you...
Honorable member.
Yes.
Honorable member.
Yes, Madam
I
Speaker.
sympathize you are unwell, but this house does not make pronouncements in vain. That response was tabled in the morning session, and we cannot then prosecute it in the same afternoon.
But I need to react on the what was tabled. That is what I have. Can I be allowed?
This matter again. No, I'm not opening this matter again. We processed it in the morning, and it was actually dealt with. On the same? Chairman.
Madam Speaker, I'm actually supporting your position, but besides the report being tabled this morning by my vice chair, the same issue was prosecuted very well by the CS on the floor of this house yesterday.
Then it is done.
Yes.
Next order.
Order number 8, the Government-Owned Enterprises Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment, control, governance, performance, and ownership of government-owned enterprises, public service obligation in respect of government-owned enterprises, facilitate the reconstitution of existing government-owned enterprises into public limited liability companies for the transfer of assets, liabilities, and the business of the government-owned enterprises to companies and for connected purposes. Order number 9, the Quality Health and Patient Safety Bill, National Assembly Bill number 41 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 43(1)A of the Constitution to provide for the responsibility of the national and the county governments in the realization of quality of health care for patients, to provide for the establishment, powers, and functions of the Quality Health Care and Patient Safety Authority, registration, licensing, and accreditation of health facilities, to provide for the setting of standards for quality of health care and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Kenya Judiciary Academy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to establish the Kenya Judiciary Academy to give effect to Article 172(1)D of the Constitution to provide for the management, functions, and powers of the Kenya Judiciary.
The National Service Commission laid on the table of the House on this day, Thursday 14 of the two, was conveyed to the Speaker's office on the 25th July, together with the curriculum vitae and testimonial and the report of the selection panel, which was attached to the same. And pursuant to the Standing Order 42, on the 5th August, the Honorable Speaker conveyed the message from His Excellency the President to the House on the nomination of the two for the appointment to the position said. The names of the nominees were referred to the Medical Committee for the approval hearing. Upon conclusion of the hearing, the committee was required to table its report to enable the House to consider the matter within the statutory timelines. Consequently, in fulfillment of the provision of Article 118 of the Constitution and the Section 64 of the Public Appointment Act, Cap 7F, and the Standing Orders 47.3, the Clerk of the National Assembly on the Wednesday the 6th notified the public through the print media and the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security that will conduct an approval hearing for the two on the third Wednesday, yesterday. Honorable Speaker, further in accordance with the Section 6.9 of the Public Appointment, Cap 7F, the Clerk of the National Assembly placed an advert in the print media on the Wednesday the 6th, inviting the public to submit their memoranda by the way of writing statement on oath on the stability or otherwise of each of the nominee in accordance to the Public Appointment Act. The public and the advertisement indicated the submissions were to be received by the 12th Tuesday by the closure of that was on the 5th, 5 p.m. Further, on the 6th, the Clerk of the Assembly wrote to the letters to the ODPP, ESCC, KRA, HELP, DCI, political parties, in reference to the background check relating to the stability of the said nominees. Honorable Speaker, the nominee appeared before the committee on the Wednesday 13th for approval hearing in accordance with the provision of the Constitution and the National Police Service Commission Act, Cap 85, and the Public Appointment Act and the National Assembly Standing Orders. During the approval hearing, Honorable Speaker, the committee considered the provision of the Constitution, Section 5 of 6 of the National Police Service Act, and the public appointment, and the nominee filled their questionnaires and their curriculum vitae, academic credential, professional training, experience, personal integrity, and the background report from relevant authorities and oral submission by the nominees, and made the following observation. The nominees were nominated in accordance with the provision of Article 246(2) and 252 of the Constitution and the Section 65 of the National Police Service Act, and the nominees are Kenyan citizens in conformity with Article 78 of the Constitution and Section 5 and National Police Service Commission. They submitted not to participate in any gainful employment in serving as state officers as required by the article and in accordance with the Article 772 of the Constitution, Section 5 of the National Police Service Commission, and the schedule of the Public Appointment Act 7, none of the nominee holds an office in any political party. The nominees demonstrated compliance with Article 75 and 76 of the Constitution on the conduct and financial probity of the state officers. They indicated non-existence of potential conflict of interest and committed to declare any should it arise. By the said deadline of the receipt of the memoranda, Honorable Speaker, from the members of the public, the committee had not received any against any of the candidate. The committee, however, received a recommendation letter from the Women Challenge to the Challenge organization supporting the nominee of Ms. Angelina Yamiton Siparo. The nominee met the requirement of Chapter 6 of Constitution, Leadership and Integrity, having obtained clearance from the relevant statutory bodies. The nominees demonstrated deep understanding of the topical administrative, technical issues touching on governance, the role of the chairperson, and the member of the National Police Service Commission. Honorable Speaker, And during the approval hearing, Honorable Speaker, I want to confess that the members of the committee were so impressed with the credentials of the said nominees, and even how they presented and demonstrated their ability to steer the National Police Service Commission forward, especially considering the turmoil between the kind of tug of war and push between the National Police Service Commission and the NPS currently. And to be in particular, Honorable Speaker, I want just to highlight a bit the position of the chair, which is Dr. Amin Yuda, PhD, comes from Tana River, from the Pokomo, a minority and marginalized community, and is a distinguished human resource management professional with an extensive academic and professional credentials. He earned a PhD in human resource management from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and a master's in human resource management and a Bachelor of Arts in anthropology, sociology from the University of Nairobi. He holds a diploma in human resource from Institutes of Personal Management acquired in 2002-2000 and is a certified human resource professional, certified in 2024. He has served in several institutions, both private and public. Honorable Madam Speaker, he has been served in very senior positions in this republic, one notably being the vice chairperson of SRC, where he has really helped the SRC to achieve major milestones from the year 2018 to 2024. And to prior to that, he was a general manager of human resource administration for the same. From 2012 to 2018, he worked as a human resource manager at Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. And it's notable to also mention, Madam Speaker, that he has actually demonstrated the issues of ethics and morals, not just when he worked there, but even throughout his career life as a civil servant. And he managed really to demonstrate so when we followed his track record during his career progression. In his earlier career, including service at the Kenya Revenue Authority, he rose from management trainee to a senior human resource and a public relations officer. He worked as a project officer at the East African Wildlife Society. And I've got no doubt, Madam Speaker, and the committee were equally convinced that Dr. Yuda is fit for the job, especially coming at such a time also when the National Police Service Commission, jointly with the NPS, anticipating to carry one of the biggest recruitment of our police officers, possibly next month. On the part of Angelina Siparo, EBS, Ms. Siparo is a seasoned professional in counseling psychology and a public health policy. And she also hailed from Narok, and actually in particular, minority subclan of Syria community within the Ma community. She holds a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology and a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, both from the United States USIU, with a master's degree completed in 1993. She has also undergone specialized training in corporate governance and worked in several NGOs, and like you said, where she was like award management and strategic leadership in HIV and AIDS program. She held numerous leadership roles across regional and international organizations. Most recently, she worked as the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, from the 2023 to early 2025. And prior to that, she served as a project team leader at the Africa Union and Africa CDC. She was also the chairperson of the AIDS Council, NASCOP. From the year 2015 to 2021, she was the Senior Eastern and Southern Africa Regional Advisor and a Kenya Country Director at the Population Reference Bureau. She also serves as the Country Director for the Catholic Medical Mission Board from the 2012 to 2025, and as a regional manager for the East African at the Health Policy Initiative and the Futures Group International. And she has also worked extensively as a consultant for organizations such as Women Rising International, Yamaya Health Advisory Population Reference Bureau, UN Women Action, Africa Help International, Catholic Medical Mission Board, International Relief and Development, and ActionAid International, focusing on governance and human resource, HIV and AIDS, and gender-based violence. Her board and advisory roles are extensive. She is the current chairperson of the Ma Women Network and a trustee of the Frontline, and has served as the board of the Moi Girls Nairobi and Narrow County Rival Economic Forum. Madam Speaker, you can't exhaust the rich experience of the two distinguished Kenyans who had been considered for nomination in this position as the chair and the member of the National Police Service Commission, respectively. And Honorable Madam Speaker, it is also notable to note that just recently, last month, this House did approve the 3 members who had earlier been already in office, working in the National Police Service Commission. And the 2 will join a team of professional, committed, and passionate Kenyans who are, I'm sure, Madam Speaker, they are so prepared and committed to serve this country diligently, as they have already demonstrated in various categories that they served this country before. Madam Speaker, I earlier mentioned that these 2 members are coming at a time when the National Police Service, jointly with the NPS, are preparing to undertake the recruitment of 10,000 officers, both including the constables and cadets. And of course, there's a whole big question of whether to do it digital or still go the manual. And we have no doubt that the 2 will add value and will actually enrich the experience of already the commissioners who are already in office. Madam Speaker, I want just to be honest that these are extremely experienced and qualified members to serve in this position. And Madam Speaker, I want to conclude by saying, Madam Speaker, the committee, having held approval hearing of the nominee regarding their stability and pursuant to Article 250 of the Constitution, Section 6 of the section of National Police Service Commission Act, and the public.
You have switched off the chair.
Yeah. What is happening?
Go on.
Okay,
Honorable.
just the gadgets, no problem. I'm actually winding up. The committee, Madam Speaker, the committee recommends the National Assembly approve the nomination of the following as the chairperson and the members of the National Police Service: Dr. Amani Yuda Komora, PhD, MBS as a chairperson, and Ms. Angelina Yamiton Ziparo, EBS as a member. And Honorable Speaker, with these few remarks, I beg to move. And I now request the Honorable Retired Colonel Dido Raso to second this motion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Before Honorable Raso, given the high traffic in our galleries, allow me to recognize students and learners in the public gallery, Kiandieri Secondary School from Kirinyaga Central, Kirinyaga County, AIC Visa Oshwal, Baringo Central, Baringo County, CCM Ruerigo Primary School from Tharaka Nithi County, and in the Speakers Gallery, Kiambala Primary School from Molo, Nakuru County, and Tayari Primary School, Molo, Nakuru County. On behalf of the House, we welcome all of them to observe the proceedings of the House. Honorable Dido Raso, you can go ahead to second the motion.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second, and I want to say as follows. Both Dr. Amani Yuda Komora and Ms. Siparo will be, if this House approves, will be the members of the National Police Service Commission. This actually completes the circle of the National Police Service Commission that already has 7 members. With these 2, it makes the complete remit of the 9 members that is stipulated in our Constitution. Honorable Speaker, our Constitution, Article 246, says as follows, that the composition is a person who is qualified to be a judge of the High Court, 2 retired senior police officers, 3 persons of integrity who have served the public with distinction, IG and 2 DIGs who represent the AP and the National Police. The purpose or the work of the National Police Service Commission is cut out in this part of the Constitution. To recruit, to confirm appointments, determine promotions, transfers, exercise disciplinary control, and also remove individuals from appointments if they so this fit. Madam Speaker, the composition of the National Police Service Commission from our committee actually reflects regional and ethnic diversity. If you take all the 9 members, actually they come from different regions, and also they represent different ethnic groups who live in the land called Republic of Kenya. Madam Speaker, the committee also went through the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act. The issue of consideration. What were the issues? Any constitutional or statutory requirement, suitability of the nominees, their abilities, the experience they will bring to the National Police Service Commission, and also qualities. As my chairman has ably extolled, we as committee, we were convinced beyond reasonable doubt that these 2 individuals will add both experience, knowledge, and they bring fresh commitment to the National Police Service Commission. Finally, Madam Speaker, we expect the National Police Service Commission, the National Police Service, and IPOA going forward to work together seamlessly to provide service to the people of Kenya. With those remarks, I beg to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, Honorable Ngogoyo, you are totally out of order. Freeze where you are. Honorable members, allow me to propose the question that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security in its report of the approval hearing of nominees for appointment as the chairperson and member of the National Police Service Commission laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 14th August 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 246(2) and 252 of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following nominees as the chairperson and member of the National Police Service Commission. Number 1, Dr. Amani Yuda Komora, MBS, as chairperson. And number 2, Ms. Angeline Yamiton Siparo, EBS, member of the commission. Honorable member for Marakwet East, Honorable Bowen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support my good friend, the chair of National Administration, the Honorable Tongoyo. And I want to appreciate him together with the committee for this report, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to support the appointment of Dr. Amani Yuda Komora as the chair of National Police Service Commission and the Commissioner Angeline Siparo. Madam Speaker, the National Police Service Commission is very important. In the management of our National Police Service, as provided for in our Constitution, they are supposed to recruit and manage our policemen. Madam Speaker, it is a very important commission for our country. Though we saw in the recent past the wrangles between the commission and the Inspector General. And Madam Speaker, as a House, I think we need to make sure that our Constitution is implemented to the letter. Madam Speaker, I don't see the reason at all as to why the Commission and the Inspector General have to quarrel over the payroll of police service, because the Constitution is very clear. But again, Madam Speaker, we want to ask the Inspector General of Police to concentrate on protecting Kenyans, to concentrate on making sure that there is law and order in the country, and not to fight on the payroll of police. That is, Madam Speaker, it is clear in the Constitution. So, as a House, Madam Speaker, we want to seek the approval of these two commissioners so that we can have the commission function, discharge the constitutional duties of this commission of managing our policemen and women. Madam Speaker, from the CVs given by the Honorable Chair, you can see very clearly that the two individuals here, they are very qualified Kenyans. Dr. Yuta Komora from a small community in Tana River. Madam Speaker, that is why we have said as a House, this Kenya belongs to all of us. This Kenya belongs to all Kenyans, and all Kenyans have the opportunity to serve in any office in this country. Mr. Speaker, it is very encouraging to see this gentleman, Dr. Amani Yuda Komora, from a small pastoralist community in Tana River, rising through the ranks and now to become the commissioner or to become the chair of the Commission of National Police Service. Madam Speaker, with the lady Angeline Siparo, I've seen the CV, Madam Speaker, and I can as well also say she's very qualified. And this is a woman who has also, she has worked, she has a master's in counseling and psychology, which is very important, especially with our policemen. We have seen many police officers of late, some of them even they are committing suicide because of work-related duties. And I think with the coming in of Angeline Siparo, with all this qualification, is going to help to also make sure that there is a provision of guiding and counseling to our police officers. And you know, Madam Speaker, also, even as we discuss these commissioners, we should also discuss the police officers who are on the field. Madam Speaker, in many times during a discharge of duties, we have seen our police officers, sometimes the public also, beating them around, like during the time of demonstrations. But if you go back again, Madam Speaker, you see how these officers are operating. The environment in terms of their housing, where they live, in terms of their salaries, Madam Speaker, I think we need also to be fair to these servicemen and women, so that even through our affordable housing, we want our government, as they work on the affordable housing in slum upgrading, Madam Speaker, they should also focus on housing, giving a decent houses to our police officers. Madam Speaker, as I finish, we want the two commissioners to streamline operations in our national police. Because, Madam Speaker, we have raised our policemen, some of them who are doing a very good job, but we have some, are very rogue police officers. Madam Speaker, in the recent past, we have talked about abductions. Yesterday, I read a statement of one of my officers, Madam Speaker, who was abducted last Thursday. Up to today, he has not been found. He was abducted by policemen. So, we want, Madam Speaker, to call out our policemen. They need to discharge their duties with a lot of professionalism and with the rule of law and following the Constitution. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to support the appointment and the approval of the two commissioners.
Member for Sirisia.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity to support the two commissioners who have been nominated. Madam Speaker, they both qualify to be commissioners. So, Madam Speaker, I'm supporting. Madam Speaker, the commission of late, Madam Speaker, or maybe it is new, because I've been also a member of the Administration and National Security, Madam Speaker. There before, it used not to be the way the Commission is handling things, Madam Speaker. I'm bringing even a motion, Madam Speaker, of adjournment of the House, Madam Speaker, to discuss on the same, Madam Speaker, about the CEO of the Commission, Madam Speaker, concerning what is going on, Madam Speaker, with the IG. Madam Speaker, it is not in order for these two officers to pull each other instead of working. But of late, Madam Speaker, the payroll has brought a problem. The two officers, when we see them on the media, pulling each other, Madam Speaker, about the payroll. And Madam Speaker, that is what is making Kenyans wondering why and what is going on, Madam Speaker, in the face of Kenyans whom they are supposed to look after, to keep proper security in this country, Madam Speaker. And even yesterday, I expected the Honorable CS to talk about it. But Madam Speaker, briefly, he said that he has a plan that he's calling them next week to sort them out. Madam Speaker, it is this House that gave the mandate to the IG to police to be independent, to have their money, to pay the police officers. And now, the way it is going, Madam Speaker, to me, the commission, the National Police Commission, cannot have a payroll to pay the police, although the way it is, Madam Speaker, the National Police Service, the police is under the National Police Service Commission. But the mandate of this House was given to the IG to pay the police. So, Madam Speaker, even us, as members of this House, we need to go back and ask ourselves, because we cannot pass a bill or a motion and then we reverse like what some of us are talking about, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is high time now. The National Police Commission to refer to what we passed in this House some 2-3 years ago, so that if they can read the bill that we passed here about the police IG to be in charge of the payroll to pay the police, then there will be no tug of war between the two officers, the commission and the IG, Madam Speaker. I support.
The next speaker, allow me to recognize again students from Tayari Secondary School from Molo, Nakuru County in the gallery. I know we had read them out, but the cohort was too large and they were split in two. So allow me to welcome them to the House. Next speaker will be the member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Also allow me to join my colleagues in supporting the motion for the consideration of nominees for appointment as chairperson and member of the National Police Service Commission of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the National Police Service is part of the national security organs established under Article 239 of the Constitution of Kenya. And in the discharge of their powers and duties, Honorable Speaker, the National Security Service is subject to the authority of this Constitution and Parliament. The national security should be pursued in compliance with the law and with the utmost respect for the rule of law, democracy, human rights, fundamental freedoms. In performing their functions and exercise their powers, national security shall respect the diverse culture of the communities within Kenya. And the recruitment of the national security organs shall reflect the diversity of the Kenyan people in equitable proportions. Honorable Speaker, the work of the National Police Service, as again set out in Article 246, is clearly cut out. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, there is no lacuna in law. There is no conflict in the law between the operational mandate of the the Commissioner General of Police and the National Police Service. What we have currently, Honorable Speaker, is either a tough war or a basic sibling rivalry that is designed to defeat the provisions of the Constitution. I therefore stand here and pray and hope Dr. Amani Yuda Komora, PhD, and Madam Angeline Imotim Siparo, plus all the other commissioners, will do nothing else but sit down and read the Constitution, read the National Police Service Act, and read the relevant laws and streamline the operations and management of the police service. Honorable Speaker, a dysfunctional police service is a threat to national security. A police service that is at war with itself is a threat to national security, cohesion, welfare, and economic well-being of the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, with the diverse and advanced experience in human resource mobilization, community management, the lady and the gentleman, should be in a position now to get us right. Honorable Speaker, there are very many challenges with the National Police Service, both operational and the normal services of the service. Honorable Speaker, in the Maraga working report, one of the recommendations the Maraga team made, one of the far-reaching recommendations, and what the Honorable Luke has mentioned too, sometimes in the course of about 2 to 3 years, the National Police Services delegated some of their powers and duties and mandate to the IG, Inspector General. And because of that delegation that did not come with authority, did not come with supervision, there has been mismanagement one way or another. So, Honorable Speaker, we call upon, as the Maraga report recommended, the National Police Service should draw that delegated authority that was given to the IG and let it revert to the Commission as required for in the Act and in their constitution. Finally, Honorable Speaker, we are going to the recruitment of new police officers. And one of the requirements of the Constitution that the recruitment of the National Police members must reflect the diverse culture and must have the face of this country. In the past, this recruitment has been undertaken in a very opaque manner, that you find any particular community, any particular region has a high proportion of members of the police force compared to other people. As they embark on the recruitment, issue of integrity, Honorable Speaker, is always said that you must have about 200,000 or 300,000 for you to be recruited in the police force. Indeed, whoever bribes to join the police force is going to be the major purveyor or perpetrator of corruption in the police force in order to recover the investment. It is good, there has been tremendous improvement, but again, the police service remains one of the most corrupt state organ in this country. But we must also allow the police, the men and the women, the young men and the young women who throughout this country to ensure the semblance of safety and there is proper management of the affairs of this country. But I want also to warn the police, individual police, if you accept and implement an illegal order, if you proceed and implement an illegal instruction that's not grounded in the Constitution, not grounded in law, the problem when you go to the dock, when you are charged in a court of law, you'll be you and you alone and your family members. So I want to urge the National Police Service Commission, the new members and IPOA to ensure that police and respect the rule of law. Killing and maiming innocent protesters is against the Constitution, is ungodly, is unbiblical, and is against the culture of this country. Their blood will come to haunt you, you and you alone and your family members. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support.
Honorable Murugara.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I'm on intervention because I'm understanding on 95 that in fact we are all in agreement that we approve this list as proposed by the chair, and therefore I move that you call upon the mover to reply.
Mover to reply. Yes.
Honorable members, the decision is yours. A member has risen under standing order number 95, and I will therefore put the question that the mover be called to reply. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to appreciate and thank the members who have contributed to this debate. And I want again to assure the House and the country that from the interviews and approval hearing of the two, we have got no doubt these are the best qualified Kenyans to steer the much yearned reform in the National Police Service, and of course to help even us wipe out the endemic corruption in the service. And Madam Speaker, it is good that we all appreciate that we are anticipating the recruitment, and these two Kenyans, distinguished Kenyans, will be joining the service, and they know their work already cut out for them. With this, Madam Speaker, I reply.
Honorable members, I therefore put the question that, taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security in its report on the approval hearing of the nominees for appointment as chairperson and member of the National Police Service Commission laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 14th August 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Articles 246(2) and 252 of the Constitution and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following nominees as the chairperson and member of the National Police Service Commission. Number 1, Dr. Amani Yuda Komora, MBS, as chairperson, and Ms. Angeline Yamiton Siparo, EBS, as member. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. Aye. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, the Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Amendment Bill National Assembly Bill number 41 of 2024, second reading and resumption of debate.
From our list of contributors, it was the Honorable Silvana Sosoro was on the floor, is not available, so Majority Leader, kindly proceed.
I think Osoro, Honorable Speaker, you are not completed this time. I thought you completed this time. Too bad.
Honorable Sosoro has a balance of 5 minutes, but
Okay.
It's behind us now.
But he loses it now. Now that he's very busy in Kisii today. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this bill on the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Amendment Bill number 2024, not number 2024, by the Honorable Aden Dawoodi Mohammed. Honorable Speaker, I listened to quite a number of contributions earlier this week, some that were very misguided. And I think one of the contributors had not even read the bill. Fortunately, when we engage with that member, without naming names, with the Honorable Aden Dawoodi, outside here, he conceded that he had actually not read the bill and was just speaking to speak to the gallery. Because this bill is not about curtailing the freedom of Kenyans to express themselves online or in any other way, or using online platforms, but it seeks to protect the children you see up here coming to witness how we legislate. This bill is seeking to protect them from abuse, either through things that they watch, pornographic material that they watch, from being radicalized through extremist views, be it religious or cultic practices, or even recruiting them into acts of terrorism online. Because, Honorable Speaker, it is a known fact by those who are in the security sector that there are those who have been radicalized into terrorism online and are recruited online. And quite a number of members from the coast region will tell you how young people have been recruited into terrorist groups from online platforms and lured others into crime and other things, Honorable Speaker, through online platforms. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, right from clause 3 of the bill, you see, it seeks to amend section 6 of the Act that gives the National Computer and Cybercrimes Coordination Committee an additional function of issuing directives on websites and applications that may be rendered inaccessible within the country where the website or application promotes illegal activities, promotes child pornography, terrorism, and extreme religious and cultic practices. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, when I listened to some of the contributions that were being made here on Tuesday, I really wondered where they were getting those things on this bill. Because we must restrict ourselves to the contents of the legislative proposals that are before us. And these bills, Honorable Speaker, I keep telling members, even if you have not read the bill, just go to the objects and the memorandum of the bill and you'll be able to figure out what the bill seeks to amend, Honorable Speaker. Because I heard a member saying, oh, let us allow the Kenyans to express themselves. Nobody is asking Kenyans not to express themselves. And if anything, Honorable Speaker, there is no other country in sub-Saharan Africa where people have the kind of freedom Kenyans have online. Freedom to express themselves and even freedom to harass others. And they do it, Honorable Speaker, without anyone curtailing them. And therefore, the intent of this bill is not to stop anybody from harassing any politician online or stop you from abusing Honorable Aden Dawood, the proposer of the bill, or Kimani Ichung'wah, or indeed anybody you want to abuse or insult. That is your right. You go ahead and do it. It never changes anything, by the way. And I keep telling people, you're only wasting your data insulting people. You're only wasting your time and your money. Spend your time more usefully doing productive things like online jobs that will earn you a living instead of spending your time insulting leaders, politicians, and whoever you think you can insult, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I was saying, Honorable Speaker, if you read the objects of this bill, you will see that it seeks to protect the most vulnerable people in our society, our children, from acts of child pornography, Honorable Speaker. Two, Honorable Speaker, acts of terrorism and extreme religious and cultic practices also, as I said, many of our young people have been lured into terrorism and extreme cultic practices. You've seen, Honorable Speaker, Shakahola years ago. We've just seen another village still in the same Kilifi County, Honorable Speaker, and you do not know, I saw the Minister for Interior last night saying that they have close to 300 bodies that cannot be identified. Honorable Speaker, because probably these are people who were lured even online, went into Shakahola and ended up dying there, and their relatives do not know where these people are, Honorable Speaker. And some may have died with their entire families, and that's why we cannot trace them. Therefore, we must protect the most vulnerable in our society, Honorable Speaker, as I said, including our children, from these illegal activities like child pornography, terrorism, extreme religious and cultic practices, Honorable Speaker, without in any way curtailing the freedoms of the people of Kenya to engage constructively online. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the issue that, again, I heard one of the members speak about cyber harassment, is already provided for in the Act, Honorable Speaker, under Section 27 of the Act, and is very clear on what constitutes cyber harassment, Honorable Speaker. Because, again, it is true, children and young people in this country have committed suicide because of cyber harassment, Honorable Speaker. If, as leaders, we cannot protect those young ones, our children, who will protect them, Honorable Speaker? Because when I listen to those populist views that were being echoed here, Honorable Speaker, by a member from Murang'a County, very populist, seeking to speak to the gallery, to make Kenyans to believe that this bill, the Honorable Aden Daud, wants to curtail the freedom of Kenyans from expressing themselves online, Honorable Speaker. I wondered, do you have children? Or do you represent parents who have children, some of who have lost their lives because of being harassed online, Honorable Speaker, and some just can't live with it, and they end up committing suicide, Honorable Speaker. Some end up getting into criminal activities because they've been lured into criminal activities. Others get into antisocial behavior like prostitution, Honorable Speaker, because they have seen it on TikTok and other platforms that this is the way to do things. We must, as responsible leaders, be slow to what we think is popular with the people. Because we have said it here time and time again, Honorable Speaker, that necessarily, it's not always necessarily what is popular is right. And in most cases, Honorable Speaker, what is popular is never right. It's just popular. And therefore, when I listen to a member speak in a way he's just looking for, speaking to the gallery to seek cheap publicity, Honorable Speaker, at the expense of our children, I am left wondering whether you're a parent. And if you are a parent, how irresponsible of a parent you could be to expose our children to cyber harassment, expose them to child pornography. Honorable Speaker, not just children. This bill is also addressing issues touching on our economy. The act of fishing, Honorable Speaker. How many people have you had on mainstream media, in our villages, even online, Honorable Speaker, who out of fishing have lost money from their bank accounts, out of SIM swaps, because this bill is also addressing the question of SIM swap, or swapping of SIMs, Honorable Speaker. People have had their accounts cleaned. People have had their bank accounts cleaned, their M-Pesa accounts cleaned by criminals, Honorable Speaker. So if you want to make Kenyans to believe that this bill is working against them so that you allow criminals to continue stealing from Kenyans, you are no better than those criminals who are fishing people's information, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, if you look at the contents of this bill, Honorable Speaker, It also seeks to protect Kenyans from phishing and also issues to do with SIM swaps that has become very prevalent in our country, Honorable Speaker. And I know there's a small village in Bomet County, and I don't know if members from Bomet County are here. Somebody told me that if you are driving through Mulot, because of the industry there, the creative industry there, you better switch off your phone. Honorable Speaker, we do not need to switch off our phones when we are driving through Mulot or near Committee Prison or Industrial Area Remand Prison. All we need is to have laws that will protect us from having our phones being hacked into, having our information phished and our accounts cleaned, Honorable Speaker, and also to ensure that the data protection laws that we have also enacted in this House, Honorable Speaker, also help those who are in the cyberspace and the online space, Honorable Speaker, from protecting our data online. Because again, Honorable Speaker, through phishing, people are creating websites or sending messages through their computers and their phones that is inducing people to websites, and recipients of such messages end up disclosing their very personal data that others should not have been disclosed. And therefore, with this, Honorable Speaker, we will have penalties for people who create such websites, Honorable Speaker, and protect the people of Kenya from this. Honorable Speaker, that is not to say that, as I was saying, those who are using online platforms cannot do whatever else they want to do constructively, whether it is online jobs. Those who want to insult politicians can go ahead and do it. They will not benefit from anything by insulting anyone, Honorable Speaker. And if anything, I've told members of Parliament, don't fear those who are insulting you online. Some will insult you, but are just envious of what you are doing at times. Most of the people you will find insulting you online are the first people to run to you for help, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, that's why I encourage members, nobody should fear anything that is said online. Honorable Speaker, some of us, if we lived by what is said online, Honorable Speaker, we will never do anything. Even this week, I've seen one of some of these media people online post very untrue stories. But I say, any story that you sell, Honorable Speaker, may help somebody. In fact, I've seen one this week, Honorable Speaker, that has actually helped our stock exchange for share prices to go up this week. And I said, it's a good thing. And some of us may be smiling to the bank because of these negative stories that people think they are selling, but end up being very positive. I therefore want to commend Honorable Dawood for this bill. It is a very progressive bill, Honorable Speaker. Extremely progressive, and we must support it to protect, if not anybody else, our children. These children who are here from this cause, Honorable Speaker, are the most vulnerable of the people in our society today. There are people who are watching 30 seconds, 45 seconds clips on TikTok, and they believe it is true. Everything they see on TikTok. We must be there to protect them, Honorable Speaker. I keep going back to the 2024 finance bill. Kenyans believed all manner of untruths because they were circulated on TikTok and other social media platforms. And when we begged Kenyans, please read the bill and show us those things you are circulating on TikTok, where they are in the bill. They couldn't. They told us, reject, do not amend. Even after we amended what should have been amended, they told us, do not amend, reject. Honorable Speaker, I said it the other day, just before the finance bill of this year, that when we passed the finance bill of 2024 in June, and Kenyans insisted that we reject it, and His Excellency the President sent it back without assent, and we went back and passed the tax amendment laws, the tax procedures law, the business laws 1 and 2 in December of the same year, with the same provisions that were contained in the finance bill. Because the era of misinformation had died off, Kenyans passed, or rather this House passed the laws without incident, without having to lose a life, without any property having to be destroyed, Honorable Speaker, and again, without Kenyans being overtaxed, as we are being told. You remember Kenyans had been told that their freehold land would be taxed, their cows, their cattle, their dengu, their avocados would be taxed. And I keep challenging Kenyans today. Show me whose livestock has been taxed. Show me whose freehold land has been taxed, as you are being told. Yet, we adopted those laws as they were in June, in December, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, I just want again to add that, Honorable Speaker, that these laws must protect against misinformation, deliberate disinformation, as happened with the Finance Bill of 2024, and continues to happen with many other bills in this House and other things in the country, Honorable Speaker, so that we also protect Kenyans from disinformation, you know, in this era and age of AI, Honorable Speaker.
Give Majority Leader 1 more minute.
Just 1 minute, Honorable Speaker, to conclude that point, that I had a conversation with one of our top doctors, Dr. Gikonyo of Karen Hospital, the other day. And I was with a friend who was saying that she had seen the thing circulating about Dr. Gikonyo promoting certain pharmaceutical products and actually believed it was true. If we do not have laws to protect Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, Kenyans will consume consumables, be it pharmaceuticals or other products, because they believe they are being promoted by people who are credible in society, yet it is the work of innovative people online. And we must protect people, Honorable Speaker, by enacting laws like this, and therefore allow me to commend not just the people of Wajir for electing Honorable Aden Daudi Mohammed, but also himself for proposing such progressive measures to protect the people of Kenya and more so the young ones in our society, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to support.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Honorable members, before I give the next honorable member to contribute to this motion, I would like to go back to order number 7, request for statements. This is going to allow the speaker who just left the chair to be able to prosecute her request for statement. So please, Honorable Mother Wangari, proceed.
Thank you for your indulgence, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure, regarding the deplorable condition of Elementaita Mitimingi Maunarok Road in Nakuru County. Honorable Speaker, the Elementaita Mitimingi Maunarok project is a 23-kilometer road in Nakuru County, whose construction officially began in June 2020. The project, which was expected to be completed by March 2023, remains incomplete to date, with certain sections not only being unfinished, but also being in deplorable state, thereby rendering the sections nearly impassable. The road serves as a vital link between agricultural zones, market centers, and tourist sites of the areas, facilitating the transport of farm produce, livestock, and other goods. Its poor condition significantly hampers economic.
Please pass the mic back.
Hampers economic activities such as tourism and pose a safety risk to motorists, border riders, and pedestrians. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. Number 1, the reasons why Elementaita Mitimingi Maunarok Road in Nakuru County is in a dilapidated state, yet the project for its construction has not been completed. Number 2, a report on the current status of the contract for the said road, particularly with regard to the unfinished Kerimo River Bridge. And number 3, the actions taken by the Ministry of Roads and Transport to have repair works of the sections of the road that are in deplorable condition. And finally, an indication on whether the contractor to undertake the construction works is the same entity that had previously been blacklisted for substandard work in other regions of the country. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I can see the chair is still in the house. Chairman.
Honorable Speaker, I will avail a response in the second week after recess.
You seem to like the second week. I would like to give you the first week. I mean, it's straightforward.
That's okay. We work with that.
Okay, thank you very much. I was just referring to the other question which was asked. I think it was also a statement you said the second week. Okay, honorable members, before we go to you, Honorable Murungara, you are the next I can see. We have our students seated in the speakers gallery this afternoon. We have students from Nandi Hills Primary School, Nandi Hills constituency, Nandi County. Students from either Tene School, Tigania West constituency, Meru County. Students from, I think there is a repetition there for Nandi Hills Primary School, but we also have Seneto Secondary School, Baringo South constituency, Baringo County. I would like, before I go to you, Honorable Murungara, kindly allow the Honorable Mutunga. Mutunga, please welcome all students to the House of Parliament.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I would like to warmly welcome all the students who have decided to come and see what we do in this house. I would like them to know this is where the laws of Kenya are made. Welcome to the House of Parliament. Seek to become one of the people you see here. There is no magic in being here. What you need is to have your dreams, and all dreams are valid. I specifically want to welcome the Tene Primary School, which is from my constituency, and clearly state that it's one of those schools that are giving us a very good mean and helping us to improve the education standards of our constituency. So we are very happy by the management for arranging for this exposure, and we look forward to seeing you keep on growing up, even as you continue academizing your institution. Thank you very much.
Very much. Now let us go to Honorable Gitonga Murungara, member for Tharaka.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to begin by thanking Honorable Aden Mohammed, the member for Wajir East, a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, an astute member of Parliament who does not fail in the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, and also in this House, because he was actually elected by the people of Wajir East to do exactly what he is doing. And I agree with the leader of majority that we should actually be thanking those people for electing Honorable Aden Mohammed, because this is an excellent piece of work, piece of legislation, which we should all support, because it is vitally important that while we appreciate we have computers and cyber cafes that we have to use every day, we must also legislate against misuse. And the key word here is misuse, because there cannot be anybody in this house who advocates that we should actually be misusing our computers, our cyber cafes, to commit crimes against other Kenyans. So this law is good law in spite of what various people would hold as their opinion when it comes to debate on what we should be doing. It is vitally important that we put our computers, cyber cafes, and every other gadget that we use electronically into proper use, so that whatever we do is for the betterment of our own lives, is for the betterment of the people of Kenya, it's for the betterment of everyone. Not to come over and argue that at times we should be allowed to misuse our gadgets, we should be allowed to commit cyber crimes against fellow Kenyans and go unpunished. We cannot allow this, because the rule of law is cardinal to our democracy. We must always work within the parameters of the law. Undoubtedly, there are fundamental freedoms and rights which we must protect at all times, including the freedom of speech, which is what some of the opponents of the proposal are trying to say, that by introducing the proposed amendments, we could be gagging people from expressing themselves. Nothing can be far from the truth when it comes to that proposition. Fundamental freedoms are universal. They also apply to everybody, but they have their own limitations. Those limitations are actually set by the law, such that where your fundamental freedom ends, mine starts. We cannot have it indefinite. And therefore, it is important that we control these particular computer uses and cyber cafe uses to avoid committing cyber crimes. What is being curtailed here is the use of computers with improper motives. And we know very well how some Kenyans, when they go to a gadget like a computer or whatever, a telephone or anything else, what they would do is to try and become mischievous, misuse it, so that we are able, using technology, IT, AI, to come up with information which may actually be misleading, which is untrue, and which is totally a crime if you look at against our laws. It is that misuse which sometimes lead to even other incidents like suicide, because people invent derogatory things which they put on the computer about someone, and we are not the same in terms of accommodating what is not useful to us. The net effect is you find our children getting derailed, you find adults committing suicide purely because somebody has decided to misuse the right to a computer himself or herself. We also have the issue of morals, and we are talking about this to a great extent. We always say anything that is repugnant to morality cannot be encouraged in law. If it offends, if it is not in consonance with our laws, it is unlawful. For example, we know very well that people have misused computers to try and get other people into crime, to try and get the same law that is supposed to protect those persons. It is for this reason that we must emphasize on morals, such that if you take your computer, put in or feed in wrong information, or commit a crime with it, then surely this law should come in and you should get punished for having done so. Therefore, it is important for everybody to know that we should be using our computers rightfully. You should be using our cyber cafes rightfully. And if you commit an offense, we have a law in this country called the Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Act, which will definitely have you brought to book and punished accordingly. So thank you very much, Honorable Aden Mohammed. We do support this bill, and I do urge my fellow members also to support so that we can make these proposed amendments and make our laws better than they are today. Madam Speaker, I do support. Thank you.
The Honorable Dr. John Mutunga, member for Tigania West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very, very important bill. Honorable Speaker, cybercrime has been a major issue, not only in Kenya, but the world over. And personally, have been affected, not once, not twice, about 4 times. I've had to destroy my cards, banking cards, because they have already been copied, and payments continue long after use of these cards. That is because people are going out of their way to look for money through even unfair and dubious means. Having a law that can control some of these issues is extremely important. Honourable Speaker, there's a lot of medication in the cyberspace. There's a lot of medication in the internet today. We have extremely purportedly good doctors advising people. It is important to filter this information and to ask ourselves whether we would like to meet a physical doctor or whether we would like to agree or accept what is being offered in the cyberspace. Honourable Speaker, this bill comes to own the things and to put controls in place. And I can't do justice without congratulating Honourable Andrew Mohammed for coming up with such good ideas. Honourable Speaker, as we grew up as children, and as we look at the school system, and especially the children who are here today, they know that there are certain topics that were not taught at early age. Even the school syllabus recognizes that certain topics cannot be taught at an early age. Today, if a child of 10 picks a phone, they can access almost anything. And sometimes we wonder, how does this influence the mind of a young child who does not even have an idea how certain things happen? Honourable Speaker, this bill is important because it will keep people at different stages in life with their respective or with the requisite exposure of those particular ages. Honourable Speaker, there are certain activities that have been happening in this country, and Kenya is awash with examples of things that have happened as a result of being influenced through the cyberspace or through the digital exposure. Use of computers is important. Knowledge about use of computers is important. Accessing information from the internet is important. But not all information is useful at any one time. And not all information is relevant. So the issues of relevance and usefulness need to be addressed. And the only way we can do that is coming up with such a legislation. So this legislation comes in basically to control the extent to which certain age groups or certain individuals at different stages in life can access information. Honourable Speaker, we have had cases of people being recruited into terrorism. We know of many Kenyans who have been recruited into terrorism. We have had instances in this country where Kenyans have led terrorists into bombing our institutions and our investments. And that probably could not have happened if this information was curtailed. That probably could not have happened if there was a process of sieving out this information or releasing this information to individuals. Other people, not all information is useful. Only certain information is useful in certain instances. We've also seen cults where people unknowingly have found themselves in a space where they have to make decisions, including decisions that have got to determine whether they continue living or not. This is one of the things that has affected us as a country, and you have many examples. Shakahola is a classical example. We've had other revelations that recently have happened, and when we follow, we realize that it is exposure to tailored information. And some of this information does not come through physical contact or through physical redressing. It comes out sometimes through the virtual means. Honourable Speaker, radicalization of our people. It has happened many times. People are fed with negative information. And I take exemption with what happened last year with the finance bill. The finance bill, Honourable Speaker, in my very considered opinion, there were three versions of the finance bill. There was the finance bill which was being discussed in this House, which was therefore amended through the committee process and brought back to this House. And that is the finance bill which was voted by many members of this parliament. There was a finance bill which was developed by individuals who wanted to pass their own perspective, pass their own perception, and influence Kenyans to think in a specific way. Finance bill that was influencing people to take a decision against the entire content of the bill. And Honourable Speaker, this particular finance bill was bought not only by the media, not just in the social media, it was even, supported by some of the members of this House. And that is why we pray for objectivity. We pray for everybody to become patriotic in this particular country. Because patriotism has the sense of loving this country first. Because this is home for us and home for our for generations to come. Honorable Speaker, for some of the information that may portray, that may be available in the cyberspace, may mislead people. And I believe we were strongly misled that time. Honorable Speaker, this is about protecting our children. This is about guiding our children to consume what is relevant for them at a particular age in time. It is important for children to know that at the end of the day, they will be exposed to everything. There is no need of pulling what does not belong to them. There is no need of trying to learn things that you may not interpret correctly, that you may not perceive. And perception has the connotation of getting to know how to deal with the information that we get. So this bill comes in to basically manage this space, manage the information flow, and manage the access, as it were. Honorable Speaker, I would like to say something about those who are creating websites and those who are in the advertisement, or rather in branding and advertisement. As people try to look for opportunities to make money, as we try to deliver, to get employment in this country, to create more employment in this country, I think it is important for us to create employment in sectors that are supportive of the growth and a proper growth and development of our children. It is good for us to create employment where it benefits Kenyans to grow as normal human beings, interact with the world as it were, and be able to live as normal and well-nurtured human beings. But it's not good for us to grow a people who do not have the correct nurturing, the correct guidance, and therefore such a bill is that important. And that's why, Honourable Speaker, I do support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honourable John Kawanjiko, member for Kiambaa. And thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this important bill. And I seriously want to congratulate Honorable Member Adenda Wood for coming up with this registration. It was timely and it was long overdue for us that we must be able to do something in terms of protecting our cyberspace. And one of the things that I've seen that he has recommended in the bill is that it's not infringing any rights. It's not taking away the rights of the people in the social media and other platforms. But as a country, we must have a way to curtail and even to control whatever our people and our children consume in this republic. It does not only support or the curtails the social media, it also gives us a platform that and give the nation and the executive and the government a platform in case there is a website or something that the children or our children are consuming, we may be able to control it, probably using different authority, Madam Speaker. There must be also a way to make sure that we protect the space of the young ones, the young generations that we're having now in our nation. We must have a way to know what is it that they are consuming on everyday basis, because they are keyboard warriors. You find them in the keyboard, watching TikToks, watching Facebooks and doing other things. But we must also be able to tell as a government what are they consuming, because we don't want to radicalize our children come the next 2 or so years and we are not being able to find out exactly what they have been dealing with. Madam Speaker, this bill is so timely. It's also helping us. It's not only about the cybercrime, it's not only about the social media, but even some extremist religions that probably because the people don't want to assemble on a certain place so that we can listen and understand what really they are feeding on our people, like whatever probably we have been happening to Shakahora and other places. But also we can be able to control and see those online preachers, those online religions, what is this that they're impacting our society with? What is it that are impacting our children with? We must be, in a way, be able to control. And when the worst come to the worst, we can be able to switch off even what they are consuming, probably using the Communication Authority of Kenya. We have seen it, and I concur with the Honorable Member, my senior Morugara, who was saying that when you look at even what was happening, others 2024, last year, in the social media, what people are putting in the social media, even to an extent of putting people in coffin, which was extreme. We must have a way to control the media and what our people are able to consume. And if possible, the Communication Authority of Kenya should be given that mandate to authoritatively cut off or deal with whatever people are able to consume, probably in our social media, Madam Speaker. Issues to do with pornography, we can be able to control. Sometimes, freedom comes with responsibility. Even if we are even if we are a democratic country, there must be a way for us to make sure that we also be able to manage that democracy and that freedom, Madam Speaker. We must be in a way able to control even when it comes, because now we're in the world of AI, we're in the world of technology. We must up our game as a nation and even as a government to be able to get into those space and control and understand what are Kenyans consuming. Because before, the terrorism used to be an act of people coming and bombing the nation and doing all those things. But with the new technology, that terrorism is no longer fashionable. You may find the new ways of terrorism is to radicalize people and even coming with a way to occupy their space. Like even we have, gaming probably, which are also done online. They are not even physically, they don't even have a physical office within the Republic of Kenya. But because now we have opened that space of online, they are able to get to game or to bet and even to do other things in other countries. So as a nation, we must be able to protect and see what our people are consuming in terms of money, how much, because even people are paying these games online, people are paying these to get these pornographies online, to get these materials online. The Communication Authority of Kenya, and I congratulate Honorable Member because it's giving them power to make sure that there is a way that they can be able to control whatever is being consumed by the Kenyans, Madam Speaker. And whatever is bad, whatever is good, they can be able to arouse and to know and to occupy that space and make sure that they are able to control the best way they know how. Madam Speaker, it's not even about money, because it's not a money bill, and it's not even putting a lot of resources to the economy, but he's really trying to use several sections and the authorities that are there to make sure that we control our people, we control our space, we manage whatever our children are consuming. Because every child who is about 5, 8 or years, every child has a phone, he's on YouTube, he's on TikTok, he's on Instagram, and sometimes you may not, even as a parent, you may not really be able to control, but we even want to call upon the parents to make sure that they're also controlling and watching what their kids are watching back at home. Because without that without that amendment of this bill, at the end of the day, we'll be, giving our children or feeding our children with some materials that we're not even aware of. Madam Speaker, we must even be able to deal with the religious, some of the religions which are cultism. You find someone following, he follow it online, sit down and worship, do those kind of things that they are doing. And at the end of the day, when you follow into deep, you realize that, this is not even about the religion. It has turned out to be a cult that people are worshiping and doing online, Madam Speaker. So therefore, as a nation, we must be prudent with the responsibility that we have been given and make sure we control the cyberspace and give it freedom. Because all of us has been, in one way or the other, we have been culprit of social media misuse or cybercrime misuse. Even swapping of phone. You have your phone with you, someone take a copy of your ID and swap your SIM card, and at the end of the day, you lose a lot of money that probably you're not even aware of. But because probably someone came with an ID and made a fake ID, those things you find that you have been robbed a lot of resources, and maybe also your idea has been used or misused, probably online, Madam Speaker. So therefore, it is good, and I want to congratulate Honorable Member for coming up with such a bill, so that at least we can be able to clean up that space of the social media and also control whatever is happening within the Republic of Kenya, especially online, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Kawanjiko. The Honorable Esther Passaris, member for Nairobi County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the Computer Misuse and Cyber Amendment Bill number 24 of 2024, sponsored by the Honorable Adam Dawood Mohammed. This bill is not about silencing Kenyans. It's about protecting them, especially our children from the dangers that unregulated online spaces bring into our homes. A child can sit in the comfort of their living room, phone or tablet in the hand, and in a matter of seconds, be exposed to predators, extremists, recruiters, or explicit pornographic material. Such exposure not only distorts their moral compass, but also erodes their social and cultural fabric. We must stand firm. Popular platforms should be compelled to introduce strong filtering systems to prevent minors from accessing harmful contents, and if they refuse to comply, we must be ready to restrict or even block them in the interest of public safety. Honorable Speaker, other nations have acted decisively to protect their citizens and uphold their values. India has temporarily banned TikTok and other apps of harmful content. Indonesia has blocked platforms until they adhere to national content laws. Australia and the United Kingdom have compelled tech companies to implement age verification and content filtering. Closer to home, Tanzania recently blocked access to the platform X, formerly Twitter, citing the platform's allowance of pornographic content, which they deemed contrary to their laws and cultural norms. These examples show that defending moral standards online is not only possible, it is responsible, and governments around the world are taking them serious. This bill strengthens the powers of the National Computer and Cybercrime Coordination Committee to act swiftly against platforms that promote illegal or harmful content. From child exploitation to terrorism, to cultic indoctrination, to phishing scams and swim swap fraud that has cost Kenyans their life savings, that has cost Kenyans not only their life savings, but also, Honorable Speaker, this is where criminals pretend to be trusted organizations and lure individuals and trick people into revealing sensitive information like passwords, bank details, or ID numbers, often through fake emails, texts, and websites. Kenyans enjoy some of the widest freedoms in expression in Africa, and nothing in this bill removes those freedoms. What it does, it closes loopholes that criminals, predators have been exploiting, ensuring that liberty is not used as a shield for abuse. I therefore support this bill and urge not only my colleagues in this House, but also Kenyans who are active online to look beyond misinformation and understand what the bill truly seeks to address: the protection of our children, the safeguarding of our economy, and the preservation of our moral and cultural values. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Wilberforce Oundo, member for Funyula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also stand in solidarity with my colleague, Honorable Daud Ahmed, in supporting the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Amendment Bill 2024. Honorable Speaker, I come from a liberal world that has been averse to censorship and some form of control. However, Honorable Speaker, over ages, over years, with this new technology, social media, now having grown up to become a grandfather, I'm starting to have a serious look at this matter in view of the impact it has on the minds of the small boys and girls. So on that score alone, in principle, I support the bill in principle. However, Honorable Speaker, I have 2 points of concern, and I would want to ask my colleague to listen clearly. It's nothing against the bill, but I have 2 points of concern. Number one, is the inclusion of terrorist act as part of one of the acts or crimes that can cause disabling of our website or applicable or application. I say so, Honorable Speaker, petty boys and girls, petty young boys and girls, young men who participated in various mandamanos and demonstrations and picketing have been charged under the Anti-Terrorism Act. My fear, Honorable Speaker, it therefore means any act to mobilize members to participate in a picketing, in a demonstration that is soon hijacked by goons hired by other politicians and ends up in the destruction of properties, it means that particular boy and girl will be, his gadget, his phone will be disabled, his social accounts will be disabled, literally rendering him inaccessible, and probably if he was using the phone to make money or to make a living, he would be done completely. So, Honorable Speaker, I would want to ask my colleague, and at the point at the committee of the whole House, I'm not very technical savvy, but I'll seek the support, the guidance of those who know. We need to redefine or temper on the meaning of Terrorism Act. The fear of being misused. I have Gen Z children, I have millennium children, I have alpha nieces and nephews. I can shudder, Honorable Speaker, that even if they have to communicate amongst themselves, even if they have issues as to us parents, they can easily fall within the armpit of this particular bill. So that's a thinking that we must be alive to. Any government can become rogue anytime. Giving a government unfettered powers to regulate to such a deep extent, then, Honorable Speaker, brings an issue that we need to reflect as a country. We might be curing a malady, we might be curing a social problem, but we are creating a dangerous monster capable of being misused. It was common, Honorable Speaker, when we were at the university. We never used to have rows and demonstration. We would engage the police with the simple stones. They throw tear gas, we throw stones. Since they've got helmets, the injuries are minimal. They will throw tear gas that doesn't explode, we throw back. Honorable Speaker, under these circumstances, even if we mobilize to collect stones so that for self-defense, using our for social media, it can easily fall under the definition of terrorism. Second, Honorable Speaker, under Section Clause 3, that's amending Section 6, that gives powers to the committee, functions of the committee. Honorable Speaker, and the committee, Honorable Speaker, we are referring to here is the National Computer and Cybercrime Coordination Committee to switch off a website or an application when they suspect that the same is promoting illegal activities. Again, the legal activities have not been clearly defined. Are they under the penal code or any other law? Child pornography, terrorism, extreme religious and cultic practices. Honorable Speaker, it takes me back again very fast, not too far. Tanzania the other day, when Kenyan boys and girls indicted them in cyber warfare, what did they do? They switched off X. Honorable Speaker, I think it was on 25th June or 7th July, the government decided to switch off live broadcasting, which was illegal. My fear, Honorable Speaker, we have issues among ourselves. And many times we must find a way to vent those issues. If, Honorable Speaker, you are in the process of communicating your constituencies, mobilizing them for a worthy cause, or a legitimate resistance to a certain government decision, it gives the committee unfettered rights, authority to literally says or render your gadget inaccessible to cut you off the network. We might be legislating to solve a problem, but let me again warn, we are creating a more bigger problem. We are giving the government, and all over the world, Honorable Speaker, the government, so now in this country, the executive, can never be trusted with too much powers, too much restrictions.
Professor, order Professor Wilberforce Oundo. You know, your name is big, Wilberforce. I can see your hand is up, Honorable Suleka Harun. Anything out of order? Do you have your card? But your hand has been up, so I would like to indulge you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am standing on Standing Order number 95. As per the mood of the House and as per the contributions already done, this bill is already accepted by most of the members. We can now call the mover to reply. Thank you.
Why the hurry? I'm still on the floor, Speaker.
You will conclude, then I'll find out whether that is the mood of the House.
So, Honorable Speaker, I'm afraid. I'm extremely afraid. The history of this country does not give us comfort that the government or the executive can exercise the powers the unfettered powers we are giving them judiciously, consciously, and the best interests of the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, what will stop the government? Use very spurious reasons. Wake up and say the communication between members of parliament on our WhatsApp group promotes illegal activities. What will stop them? When we are protesting, any attempt to deny constituencies, CDF, what will stop the government from doing that? I would therefore request, Honorable Speaker, there must be a mechanism where somebody can be brought to your attention, actions to remedy. If you decline to remedy, then there must be a judicial system that leads to your switching off your gadget. Honorable Speaker, when you go to clause 6, this is timely. I totally agree. Swim swap, theft of identity is becoming a big issue. Honorable Speaker, any given day in this country, you do not know what is fake, what is genuine. You do not know whether it's a clone account, it's a fake account. We must rein on this. So I congratulate you, my friend. I would have called you the other name, but this is where on Hansard. But I request that be open to comments, amendments, because you might be the government today, but tomorrow you'll be out of the government. I'll join me in crying. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Well, honorable members, I'm inclined to indulge the Honorable Jerry Maina, member for Kirinyaga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll be very brief. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Aden, is a good friend of mine. We were in some committee together before I was suddenly de-whipped and I joined the crying of Honorable Oundo. Honorable Speaker, I do rise to support this bill. It is very timely. It is very succinct. And in regard to the same, I would like to highlight clause 3 of that bill, concerns that have been raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament who's spoken before me, Honorable Oundo, that particular amendment is a bit problematic. You find that the term illegal and terrorism has become very broad and vague. And Honorable Aden, being a member of the JLAC committee, knows that anything illegal is defined in the current legislations that we have. We have the penal code that is there to cater for that, and we have relevant statutes that define what is illegal. Leaving it in that broad perspective opens it to exploitation by perhaps the state or other actors that might find terms, like maybe perhaps one term. You might wake up and hear that one term is illegal, and due to that, it can be prone to abuse and can also affect protection of Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya. Further, as a wind-up, Honorable Speaker, the NC4, and that is the National Computer Cyber Crimes Coordination Committee, cannot be the judge, the jury, and executioner of what is termed as illegal. It is also important that we check on the definition of terrorism. I can tell you that as an advocate of the High Court, I have been at Kahawa law courts for over 3 weeks, where more than 75 young people are being charged with the crime of terrorism, while what is purported to have perhaps they had allegedly committed is well within even the penal code. And like Honorable Oundo has said, today it might be convenient, tomorrow it might not be convenient for you. Let us always make laws for the posterity of this nation. I support and I congratulate Honorable Aden. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Kirinyaga. Honorable members, the Honorable Suleka Harun rose on standing order number 95 and requested that the mover be called to reply, and I would like to find out whether it is the mood of the House that I call upon the mover to reply. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Next order. And I call upon the mover to reply. Honorable Harun Dawood.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me thank the members of this August House for their very intelligent contributions to this piece of legislation, proposed piece of legislation. And let me assure them that I have keenly listened to the concerns that they have raised. And those concerns, I will incorporate them into the bill. It is true that illegal activities is a very broad term. And when we reach the stage of the Committee of the Whole House, we can bring an amendment to define, not to define, but to limit those illegal activities to what is currently outlawed in the laws of Kenya. I want to assure the members of this House that I drafted this bill in 2024. It had nothing to do with what is happening today, people being charged with terrorism. But terrorism is defined in another act of parliament. And that is not the act of parliament that I'm amending. I'm only using terrorism as defined in that act of parliament. Madam Speaker, I beg to reply to this, but I also request you that under Section 53(3) of standing orders, that we don't put the question now and we put it when we have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, based on your requests, it is extended to. Next order.
Order number 13, the Birth and Death Registration Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 37 of 2024, second reading.
Yes, the Honorable Mother Wangari.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to move that the Birth and Death Registration Amendment Bill 2024 be now read a second time. Madam Speaker, this is a very simple amendment that stemmed from last term, just about 2020. I brought a motion on this floor that was very well supported by many members, Madam Speaker. And this was about the civil registration services in our country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, people may look at a birth certificate as a simple thing, or a death certificate for that matter, but there are people in this country that accessing that document has become a mirage, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yesterday there was a debate here, and the day before, debate here by the Ministry of Education on chemists, on NEMIS, even today, Madam Speaker. You cannot be able to register for NEMIS without a birth certificate. You cannot be able to get even your passport without a birth certificate. And Madam Speaker, many other uses. This is a matter of a human right. This is a matter of identity. This is a matter that is a right, an inherent right that cannot be taken away, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I did my research when I did that motion. The support I got from this House was immense, and it was a proposal from that time that we then turn it to a bill and then an act of parliament, so that it does not leave the pleasure of the CS in charge of Interior on where to put a birth and death registration office. Madam Speaker, we have about 238 sub-counties in this country, and these offices and services are only in 157 sub-counties, Madam Speaker. So my proposal that time, and maybe things have changed, so I'll keep updating, Madam Speaker. This department falls under the Ministry of Interior, National Administration, State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services. And this department, Madam Speaker, is responsible for the compulsory and mandatory and immediate registration of all births and deaths that occur in Kenya. This is what gives the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics the statistics to be able to help the Ministry for Planning and all government in terms of services and other requirements for the communities. Madam Speaker, the Mother Act of Law establishes the civil registration services in the Births and Death Registration Act. It was enacted in 1928. The department has the mandate of issuing birth certificates, birth notifications, and death certificates. Something that is so required, Madam Speaker, even a death certificate, when people are applying for bursaries, some for the vulnerable children, that they need to attach a death certificate. And if you don't have it, then it becomes a problem. Madam Speaker, if you're dealing with succession issues, you need a death certificate. And it becomes very hard to actually acquire one. From experience, Madam Speaker, Gilgil, which has a voter registration of about 100,000 voters, was combined with Naivasha with almost 170,000 voters to get these services from one office in Naivasha. Madam Speaker, there's a time the Ministry of Education had put a timeline, and one time I woke up and went to that office in Naivasha. I found some people from my constituency who had traveled at night to be there at 8, all the way from the edge near Joro, near Narok East, to be able to access this document. And Madam Speaker, going there does not even assure you that you'll get it. So they will queue the whole day, they are overwhelmed, and the services were not working, and you'll get the system is down, and many other technical hitches, Madam Speaker. These people will be hungry the whole day and still not get that document. Madam Speaker, this is the story in many other counties in this country. Madam Speaker, if you look at Nakuru, we only had 4. Out of 11, we only had 4. In Njoro, in Naivasha, in Nakuru, in Bahati, and one more. It is only after Gilgil was added, Madam Speaker, that you can be able to say we have a few. But we still have Subukia, we still have Rongai that still are not covered by this very important service, Madam Speaker. If you look at Mandera County, Mandera is one of the most disadvantaged counties, Madam Speaker, because of the distances that you have to travel. Citizens traveling over 400 kilometers, Madam Speaker, to access this right and service that is very critical to them. Madam Speaker, if you look at Marsabit, the same. If you look at Turkana, the same. West Pokot, for a long time, has only had 1. Yet the square kilometers are very many and you are not able to cover, Madam Speaker. So this very simple amendment, Madam Speaker, has a lot of importance that cannot be gainsaid in this House, Madam Speaker. Many members here help their constituents trying to get this document to be able to register for school, to register for other services, Madam Speaker. Even now when we are speaking of Kazima Jew, How you cannot be able to get a passport without this birth certificate, Madam Speaker. And what happens when there's a scramble for services, Madam Speaker? Corruption comes in. So you will get some unscrupulous member of the community or even administration charging people money to be able to access this service that should be easily available from the government. Madam Speaker, I was able to appear before the committee that is in charge, led by Honorable Tongoyo. We had a very long discussion. We debated about sub-counties and constituencies. Madam Speaker, I personally was going for constituencies for one reason, that there will be a political push and a political need for every member of parliament to have their constituency office working. And why I say that is because when I requested one for Gilgil, I was told there is no money to be able to give you an office, to give you furniture, to give you, and I told them, just give me a registrar and a clerk, Madam Speaker. We were able to give them an office, which was actually next to my office, and they have been able to operate there from 2020. It is only now, Madam Speaker, I have been able to do as an administration complex where I will house the Gilgil Land Registry together with these civil registration services that they are going to move to the new building. But Madam Speaker, from 2020, in Gilgil we have registered over 40,000 births so far, and we have registered about 4,000 deaths so far. What does that tell you? That the need is there, and all we need is to have the goodwill. If you tell a member of parliament to give you furniture, to give you a place to sit, just give them a registrar and a clerk. They will do it, and will ensure that these services are close to the people. Madam Speaker, what this does, it has made it easy for my sub-county and my constituency, because nowadays I'm able to just say facilitate the registrar and the team to go to the schools. Just recently, we were doing in Mitimingi, we have going to Oljurai very soon, and many areas that I've done, Madam Speaker, because that is where we need, in terms of capitation for schools, we need the numbers, and so we are taking the services closer to the people. If the area is smaller, then efficiency is improved. Madam Speaker, I know there's a lot to say, and I know many members have so much to say in terms of supporting, or in terms of experiences that they have dealt with in their constituencies. But when I appeared in the budget committee, or before the budget committee, I was able to convince them that all they need to think about in terms of money first is the human resource. Have enough clerks and have registrars. If we get these two to start, then it goes growing. Furniture and other things, we can assist each other through CDF and through other ways, Madam Speaker, so that we get these very crucial services to the people that we represent. So, Madam Speaker, I would not want to take more time. I would want to move, and I would beg to move, and I request the chair of the Internal and Interior and National Administration to second, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And from the very onset, Madam Speaker, I want to really congratulate the Member of Parliament for Gilgil, Honorable Mother, for coming up with this very progressive and very important piece of legislation. And Madam Speaker, as she has put it, the issue of birth certificates and deaths, of course, are the birthright of every Kenyan. And Madam Speaker, we should be able to appreciate, and I think she had put it very right, that in her amendment, she had suggested that she wanted to be legislated, that it is in the law, so that it's not within the discretion of the CS or the ministry or the State Department, so that it is anchored in law. And initial proposal was she wanted to be per constituency, but having gone through it and having consideration by the committee members, and of course that will still come during the committee, the committee stage, that we rather have it taken down, closest to the Mwananchi, to the sub-counties. Because, Madam Speaker, this is not a political office, it's more of an administrative. And it was in wisdom and consideration of the committee members that it should be tied with the DCCs and other head of departments, to include education, to include NRB, that is the IDs and the rest. And currently, although she had actually rightfully put it, as it is, and I think she got it a little bit, maybe the latest is like we have got 167 civil registration centers in the countrywide, against actually gazetted sub-county units, which totals about 400. So that tells a huge, huge gap. And that, of course, Madam Speaker, tells that majority of Kenyans could not access these essential services and documents by mere lack of, because of the distances. Because if they have to travel several kilometers to access such services, definitely it tells you that they may not be able to get them just because the services are not closer to them. And the amendment by the honorable member will go a long way to ensure that Kenyans access these services, crucial services, with ease. Madam Speaker, I don't want really to belabor. I know, Madam Speaker, this sector, and I think even the CS put it very rightfully yesterday, is undergoing a lot of reform. And there is a lot of programs and a lot of effort to automate the entire civil registration services. And currently, they're putting up what is known as UPI, that is unique personal identifier, which is going to be a number that every Kenyan given birth, every Kenyan will get this number from birth and carry along with that number until death. It is end-to-end system and is going to make it easy, even into the future during the issue of the ID. In fact, the whole aim is that to make that even ID, you don't need to apply again because the information will be captured from birth during this issue of issuance of this certificate, uploaded into an IPRA system so that it makes it easy for Kenyans to get it. So, and Madam Speaker, is also good to note, just recently, the State Department had carried a pilot in Nairobi last 2 weeks, and the results were very promising into rolling out the issue of UPI, the unique identifier, unique personal identifier. And it's going to really make this, the issue of ID cards, I mean the issue of birth certificate and the entire system automated. Madam Speaker, I think it's also good to note that despite the issue of shortage of these services, we have indulged the ministry severally over the same. And the outcry has been the issue of shortage of civil, the issue of civil registration officers, which is currently they have a very acute shortage of staff. Currently, they have got around 325 against an establishment of about 1,200. So that also tells why possibly these centers are not across the country. And of course, recently, just in this current financial year, the previous one, the ministry took a little bit of recruitment of a few staff, and but they are still the gap is still big. They still have a shortage of close to 700,000, and we have been actually as a committee indulging the State Department to see whether they can able to mobilize resources to continuously recruiting, so that as we look forward into putting up offices across the country, we still have the staff to do the same. Madam Speaker, I think personally this is a very progressive, very important bill, and with this, I beg to support. To second, sorry, I beg to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that the birth and death registration amendment bill, National Assembly Bill number 37 of 2024, be now read a second time. On the list, I have the first person as the Honorable Njeri Maina. Just rely on the list. Honorable Johanna.
Thank you.
Let's rely on the list.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this bill by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Gilgil, Honorable Martha Wangari, and commend the timeliness of it, because when we enacted the 2010 Constitution, we intended to ensure that we devolve services to the Kenyan people. This bill is going to ensure that the Kenyan people indeed get the very critical services of getting a birth certificate, a death certificate, a passport, an identification card, documents that are very critical for Kenyans to access other services, and even for the Kazi Maju program that is being initiated by the government. Honorable Speaker, putting in perspective Kirinyaga County, we have only one Huduma Center, which is in Kirinyaga Central Constituency, and we have people coming from as far as Mwea constituency, and Mwea constituency is very vast because it has east and west, all the way going to Kirugoya to get critical services. As we are talking about even the 2027 general elections, let us see how we can fast track this so that young people who I have seen from time to time arguing that they are unable to access identification cards within a particular timeline are able to get their identity card so that they can make their citizenry duty and exercise their right to vote for their candidate of choice. So this is very timely, Honorable Speaker. We need to action it as soon as yesterday, Honorable Speaker. And this House, when we are doing the budget allocations, it should be a priority because every Kenyan deserves to have these services at the local level. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Timothy Toroitich, member for Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support the motion by Honorable Wangari, and I wish to congratulate her for this very progressive bill. Honorable Speaker, this bill seeks to give effect to Section 6.3, Article 6.3 of our Constitution, which provides that the state shall ensure that there is reasonable access to its services in all parts of the Republic. Honorable Speaker, you realize that we have a very vast country. In fact, there are certain counties in this country that are bigger than other African countries. If you compare a country like Turkana, Turkana is bigger than Burundi, Rwanda, and Djibouti combined. So you can imagine that from one end of a county to another, it's almost 800 kilometers. So if those constituencies do not have these basic services, then our people, the people of Kenya, shall suffer getting basic services like these registration certificates for both birth and death. The only maybe proposed amendment that I would give is, I don't know whether the honorable member presented, that because in the bill she talks about taking those services to each constituency. Under the National Government Coordination Service Act of 2013, the recognized National Government Service Delivery Coordination Unit at that level is a sub-county because of the vast nature. Before a constituency is divided into a sub-county, the factors to be taken into account is the vastness. So maybe that's an amendment that we need to bring so that we have it at the sub-county level and not, at the sub-county and not the constituency. Honorable Speaker, there is an obsession in this country that an office is a physical unit or a physical structure. Like the move of the motion has put it clearly, even a tent with 2 officers or an officer is enough so that you don't have to have an officer with a swinging chair to be able to serve our people. Even a tent, if the resources are not unlimited, then even a basic structure is enough to serve our people. What our people need are services, not big offices where they can be able, where they want to swing and just not serve our citizens. So, Honorable Speaker, because this matter squarely lies in the docket of the Ministry of Interior and National Coordination, I thank the CS for Interior, who has been moving around through the Jukwaa la Usalama initiative.
Order, member for Marakwet West. The Honorable Stephen Mule. Is anything out of order? Or you are being strategic? Yes. Okay. Okay, you may summarize.
So,
Please continue.
Honorable Speaker, as I summarize, is that this matter falls squarely within the docket of the Minister of Interior, and I wish to appreciate the current CS for Interior. He's been moving around the country through the Jukwaa la Usalama initiative. And when it came to our county, he appreciated the fact that those services are not available. So, Honorable Speaker, we expect a report from him, and when that report comes, identifying the gaps, as a house, we must be very deliberate in allocating resources so that we make this a reality. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Johanna Ngeno, member for Emurua Dikri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm really glad to speak to this particular matter, Madam Speaker, since it is a matter that has been troubling us for quite a length of time. Madam Speaker, many of our residents, of our citizens, in wherever they are, they suffer this particular situation. And especially when the Ministry of Education introduced birth certificates as a compulsory document to use in the registration and in the allocation of, if it is the funds which are allocated to both primary and secondary school, Madam Speaker, they made it compulsory that unless a child has a certificate or a birth certificate, you cannot access those particular services, Madam Speaker. And therefore, this should have been gone, it should have gone in tandem with the compulsory decision that every child must use a birth certificate, and that every child also must be made easier to access that birth certificate. But when you look at the situation we are having currently, Madam Speaker, people have to travel over 50 kilometers, 100 kilometers. People have to use over 5,000 to 10,000 shillings to access these particular certificates, Madam Speaker. And yet it has been made compulsory in registration. So I think at that particular point when the Ministry of Education was making it compulsory, should have also made it accessible to all the kids just around those areas. And in fact, the idea of Mheshimiwa Wangari to bring it even to the sub-county level, that one should have been done previously by the ministry. So that now we should be discussing of even devolving it more to the ward level. Because, Madam Speaker, these are services that are supposed to be given by the government to the people of this republic. Just like the national identity card. They should have, in fact, the national identity card is not even more, although it is being used severally, but you see, that one comes only when you are 18 years. And that is when you will have the capacity to even look for it. But for the birth certificate, this is a certificate for a small kid, probably on birth. So this should have come even up to the ward level so that people can access it. Madam Speaker, however, I'm excited with this amendment, and I believe that it's going to go through because this is something which has made our people suffer, spend a lot of money, and made most of the kids, like when you go to some schools, Madam Speaker, most of the kids do not access the capitation. I think they call it capitation or something like that, because they do not have the birth certificates. Madam Speaker, I'm one of those people also who suffer. In my constituency, Murwadikir, we do not have births and death certificate registration office. And I don't know, I would have wished the chair was around, because I have fought for that particular office for, I don't know, around 3 to 4 years, trying to work on it. I've even leased an office, Madam Speaker, paid rent for something like 1 year, painted it, even painted the births and deaths, just to look like an office. I've even bought computers. I've bought, furniture to that office. But it is still lying idle. I have kept on calling these people that these are surfaces you people should be looking for us to ask us, where can I put this office? Not the other way around. Not members asking you, we really want an office. So, Madam Speaker, I think this is a wake-up call to the Interior Department, and I would wish the peers concerned to really take these matters seriously, implement it immediately upon the passage of this House. We don't want this thing to wait. We have been appropriating funds here, Madam Speaker, towards the same. So we want it acted upon as fast as possible so that our people should not be traveling long distance. Mine are traveling as far as Kilgoris, which is around 50, 60 kilometers, and it's very expensive. And sometimes when there are issues along the borders, Madam Speaker, our people just stay at home, they cannot access it. Lastly, Madam Speaker, as on the question of UPS, I don't know, the UPI, the minister was talking about it yesterday. I'm a little bit skeptical, Madam Speaker, because I normally read the Bible in tandem with our Constitution, and the Bible tells us there will be a number that will be branded on each and every face, number 666. Which will be. So I'm a little bit skeptical on that UPI stuff, Madam Speaker. I thank you and I support the amendment in totality.
Religious matters. Now that you have talked about religious matters, I'd like to give this opportunity to the Honorable Naomi Wako. Actually, I have been trying to check whether you have inserted your card, member for Catherine. Yes, it's there. The Honorable member for Busia is the one that I'm doubting. You may proceed, Honorable Naomi Wako.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this very important debate on the Births and Deaths Registration Amendment Bill 2024. And also thank Honorable Martha Wangari for coming up with this. Honorable Speaker, if there is any amendment we need now, it is this in this country. And thank you, Mheshimiwa, for looking, ahead and for being ahead of us and being concerned with the future generation, because this bill will assist a lot our young people. Honorable Speaker, I come from one of the largest counties. My county is the second largest. And the farthest from the headquarters is like 300 or 400 kilometers away. And normally, people travel to the headquarters to get their birth certificates. And especially now that the government has said that the birth certificates is a requirement to all primary school children admission, and it is a must for every child to have their birth certificate as they register or as they enroll in primary school. Honorable Speaker, some of us during our time, the only thing we did was to just hold our ears and show people that at least we are of age. And they used to check us and confirm that we are citizens, and especially those of us who come from the border. Now we are beyond that, and birth certificate is a serious requirement. And also as they register, it helps even the education ministry to have the data, what we call the NEMIS, to identify, to have the data, and also track every student, and also in allocation of funds to schools. So it is a very serious requirement, and most of the schools in northern Kenya today are not even getting the funds because some students don't have the birth certificate. So what do we need to do as a government? Honorable Speaker, the best is to make sure that we bring the service closer to the people. And we have the DCC offices. Honorable Martha has suggested that in every constituency we have, because we have 290 constituencies, and we have 143 only under this office of birth and death certificate. So if we can even go further and make sure that anywhere we have a DCC, we have that office, we make sure that birth and death certificate is there. Or even as people go to the hospitals, although I know in my place, some people don't even deliver in hospitals, we make sure, even as we just give the notification that a child has been born and all these other things, we make sure that the birth certificates for all the people who are around there will be issued as soon as possible. Honorable Speaker, this is something that we need to pass as quickly as possible so that that service can be brought closer to every citizen, so that our young going children to school, our children who are going to school will benefit. Honorable Speaker, again, when we talk about birth certificates, it is 61 years since we got independence. And people like those people who come from Marsabit, they travel for, as I said, over 300 kilometers to get their birth certificate. And we cannot continue that way. And that is why I suggest that we make sure that the service is brought close to the people, that we empower people. The only thing that we need is to have enough personnel, Honorable Speaker. When we have enough personnel, we can even have what we call mobile registration centers that, you know, even if it is under a tree, the staff can move there, the class can move there, and just say that today we are in this village under this tree and issuing birth certificates, and make sure that especially before the children join primary schools in January, we have like mass registration so that nobody suffers. Nobody suffers, because currently many students are in school and they don't have birth certificate, and even immediately we can make sure, we can just say that we want all the students in any school or primary school, registrations can take place there for any child who does not have any birth certificate, because that can help. Because I know, like in my place, there are students in classes who do not have their birth certificate. So we can say, let us make sure as a government that we have mass registrations in all the schools to make sure that every child is having his or her birth certificate, and then we come up with the idea of bringing it closer to the people, and we do that as soon as possible. And every December, November, December, we have mass registration to cover those people who come from far areas and remote areas. Thank you, and with those few remarks, I support and I congratulate Honorable Martha.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Dr. Makali Mulu, member for Kitui Central.
Wow. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by thanking Honorable Wangari, Martha Wangari, for this important bill, and more so thank the people of Gilgil for bringing her back to this house. Because, Honorable Speaker, this bill was actually moved in the 12th Parliament, but because of the time it takes to process a bill, it expired with the 12th Parliament, and you can see it has taken about 3 years for us to find this day being debated, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, we have a reason to thank the people of Gilgil for bringing Mother back to this house so that she could actually continue this bill and see it up to the end, becoming an act of Parliament. I want to associate myself with those who are saying that it's important that we get these offices in the sub-counties, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you realize that the first certificate you get, even before you've gone to any school, just a minute after you are born, is a birth certificate. And then after you get that one, you'll be able to acquire other certificates as you leave. And then the final certificate you get is a birth certificate. A death one, when you die, Honorable Speaker. Which means this bill is very important because it opens the doors for Kenyans to get the first certificate.
Honorable Makali, on a light touch.
And get
the last one, the last certificate.
Yeah, the last one.
Maybe other people get it for you.
I mean, but it is yours. It is written, it is on your name, so it is still yours. Even though the people use it to do other things, but it's still on your name. And that's why these certificates are very important, Honorable Speaker, because you realize that, for example, it is not mandatory that for you to register for most of the exams, starting the first one, you sit as a child, you must have this document. So, which means, really, parents have to go out of their way, Honorable Speaker, to get this document. And as members have said, some of our parents are going very, very long distances to access this document. In other areas, they travel today, get to the office, even find the register is not there, and they go back to their homes, and they have to come tomorrow or the other week. At times, they go to some of these offices and find very arrogant officers who don't even serve them. And they are forced by circumstances also to come back another day. So, Honorable Speaker, when I see an effort being made to have these offices near where we live, it is a step in the right direction, Honorable Speaker. And that's why we really want to appreciate and say that. I think the challenge has always been that we are very good at creating offices, but we don't make them operational. You have heard the chairman, Committee on Administration and National Security, saying we have over 400 administrative offices, and the only operational ones are 200 and something, Honorable Speaker. Meaning these offices are there, but they don't exist in terms of either office blocks or having an officer managing the office. So in that case, Honorable Speaker, we still have a challenge, because even if we pass this bill to become an act of parliament, I can tell you for sure, we are going to take a bit of time before we make these offices operational. So I think as a house, since we have the mandate to make budgets, it is important when we are doing the next budget, and I believe by then we'll have this been an act of parliament, we make necessary provisions in the budget so that these offices can become operational. In that case, we'll be helping Kenyans. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, where I come from and where you come from yourself, you know what our people go through to access this important document. When it comes to the death certificate, Honorable Speaker, we know most of the issues, land issues our people are struggling with, is because somebody passed on, they don't have a death certificate. Somebody passed on, they have not processed the letter of administration. And I can tell you for sure, because anytime I sit in my office, I see very old ladies coming to my office saying, Mheshimiwa, you know, I don't have the death certificate for my husband. On the basis of that, I'm not able to divide the land to my children. And this becomes a big problem to families. So the earlier we get this act becoming an act of parliament, the earlier we get these offices being near our people, the better for service delivery. And I think the government must come out strongly and support this move to have these offices. And not only these offices, we must appreciate, Honorable Speaker, the issue of the Huduma centers has really helped most of the areas. But you realize Huduma centers, most of them are still at the county headquarters. They are not found in the interior parts of the counties. On that note, still the same problem again comes up, that people have to travel long distances to access these documents. And more so where the students have finished school or they want to register, you find a lot of congestion in these offices. You find parents are forced at times to even sleep around there to get this document, otherwise they'll be locked out or out of registration for their children. And I think really, Honorable Speaker, then, as a house, then, Honorable Speaker, this bill becomes very important. As I conclude, I've heard the chairman of the committee talk about what he's calling the unique personal identification, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I really want this house to take this matter very serious, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, if my memory serves me well, this is the third attempt. We are trying to have this unique identifier. Honorable Speaker, you must have heard something called Anglo leasing scandal. That scandal was one of the attempts to give Kenyans a unique identifier. Then we came the Huduma card, Honorable Speaker, which was done when we were in this house with you. And then it's just about a year ago, we had another card coming. And we've realized that all these attempts, Honorable Speaker, are attempts for people to use government, public resources for their own private benefit. We are benefiting private companies in an attempt to give this unique identifier, Honorable Speaker. So I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, the chairman, Committee on Administration and National Security, should assure this House that this further attempt will give us a unique identifier and not the stories we have had in the past, which come every 2 years, people get their card, they put it in the pocket, and they introduce it again. Otherwise, we should be able to say no to this process. Because the outcome of that process is very important to the country, Honorable Speaker. It doesn't make sense, Honorable Speaker, if I get to your debate now, I'll find so many cards there. And all those cards are talking about, Honorable Speaker. Other than just having one card, which you can use for share, which you can use for your bank, which you can use for everything. Just one card. But because we don't want to get it right, Honorable Speaker, we keep on going round, round, and round. So, Honorable Speaker, I thought it's important I say that, because we've said it many times, Honorable Speaker, that the issue of corruption in this country is a very, very serious matter. And I'm very happy, Honorable Speaker, yesterday I saw our President saying that members in this House, committees of this House, Honorable Speaker, although it was a very general statement, that committees of this House are demanding money from the executive. How I wish, Honorable Speaker, because our President has access to National Intelligence Service and he has National Intelligence information. How I wish he mentioned names and said, Honorable so and so, who is my chair of this committee, demands this money, and on the basis of that, he should be changed and we get a new chairman, Honorable Speaker. In that case, he will be helping to fight corruption in this country. But when we get this general statement, Honorable Speaker, I think we are doing a disservice to this beautiful country which God has given us. But I think, Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether it is in order for us at some point to get time to discuss this important motion. The motion that members of Parliament are actually being bribed to change committee reports. How I wish you had time, and that becomes a motion of this House so that we can debate it for 2 or 3 hours and put things straight as they are. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Catherine Omanyo, member for Busia County. And I would like to request Secretariat or the Clerk's office to check on the cards on this side.
Yeah,
I believe they are not working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for Catherine Omanyo, I mean, we had the table had to ask her whether she's waiting to speak.
Yeah.